So people have been talking a lot recently about conspiracy theories, and it's really interesting because I've been seeing it come up not just like on one side of the political spectrum, but on both sides of the political spectrum. And it's been kind of annoying me, and I wanted to talk it out just a little bit. I'm coming out of a period where in 2011 I'd been paying a lot of attention to a lot of Egyptian media because of the uprisings there and all that stuff that had happened, and conspiracy theories like became rampant. Like it just like kept happening all of the time, where like it started out where like people being on the streets January 25th, 2011 was a conspiracy in and of itself. There was talk about foreign intervention. There was assumption that people were either like paid to be there or that they were part of some sort of foreign intelligence operation. It just seemed that like lots of people were coming up with things. Some of those conspiracies were brought up by the state, but I also think that a lot of the conspiracies were also brought up by individual people and by the media, and that the state sort of played on those things and just like brought up a bunch of things because in chaos they could function the best that they could. And those conspiracy theories and ideas didn't stop. Actually, a lot of that stuff on basic conspiracy thought kept going in Egypt, especially because we didn't have methods to truly trust the government or what the government said. The government lied, and I knew that they lied multiple times about what temperature it was, because I had a thermometer and I knew how ridiculously high the temperature was during one day. And they said that it was lower because if they hadn't said like what the actual temperature was, public servants wouldn't be required to go to work that day or whatever under whatever laws it was. And so like to me, the fact that I couldn't trust the country anymore to speak the truth was crazy. And once there is an absence of trust or truth from like a source, you have to start creating your own ideas or your facts or your theories on how things happen. A lying government like lies to you and tells you these things, and obviously the government must be hiding the fact that this person was actually installed by both the Muslim Brotherhood was installed both by the United States and by Iran in order to suppress the Egyptian people. Like these were the ideas and the concepts that people had like kept bringing forward, and it was infuriating for how contradictory it was that like the same people could be brought up by like competing enemies, but I'm getting far beyond the point. Currently, however, what's happening is that we have a current administration that has repeatedly had moments of falsehood, just utter and complete falsehood and visible falsehood. And I think that that is the most infuriating thing that everybody has seen, is just that like with the simplicity of within like the first day of this administration, we had the ridiculous concept of, oh no, I had the biggest crowds in history ever, period, right? When Spicy comes out and tells everybody whatever it is, right? We've started to do this thing where like everybody has started to create them. We all start going, you know what? They're lying about this. What else have they lied about? They must have lied about a lot. I assume that there was a lot of lying that has happened. I think that there was so much lying that definitely everything that is happening in the administration is being paid for by a foreign service. Trump had like crapped on somebody's bed. Like I had started buying into it too, and I just couldn't believe how much it was happening. And it's just sad to me because I have started to become one of these people. I've started to become this person who, after everything that's being said, I allow myself to listen to sources that are imperfect, right? And that's not the point. I shouldn't be doing this. I mean, of course, like you could say it's the fault of the administration because of the fact that they're not being honest with me, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't have the same requirements for what it is that I accept as reasonable information. Conspiracy requires for a number of people to be so well adjusted and capable of functioning with each other perfectly in order to accomplish a task. And as I have been able to observe over the last bit, many actors within the Trump administration are not capable of fully executing a conspiracy. Competence is so low that I just don't believe it could properly happen. That's not to say that Russia hadn't meant to intervene. That's not to say that there aren't all these other issues, but please, please try to only believe in things that are well sourced and to take everything else with really so much less than a grain of salt. To just read it and go on and not get attached to it just because the narrative itself is so interesting. Because I find myself in that place all of the time, and it's unnecessary. And this is an uncomfortable hat. Remember when Jill Stein required the recount for the votes because everybody was like, there's no way that those votes are real that came from like those states? And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, let's not say that for sure, but like, you know, maybe there was some stuff to that. There was that one credible guy who wrote that thing about how